Alright, welcome everyone. This is going to be a Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter run, any percent, meaning just basically beat the game as fast as you can. Before I start anything, I just want to say Zelnus made me do this. This is against my will. But since we didn't have any naming, and it's kind of been tradition. Alright, and timing starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is kind of the black sheep of the family. There's very little story, little bit of mechanics. I'll try to cover as much as I can. So the world has kind of gone up in a handbasket. So what happened is there was a war that waged on the surface. When neither sides were winning, they decided to bring in dragons, because first rule of war, have a bigger stick than your opponent. Spoilers, it didn't fare too well for the Earth. So the Earth kind of became unlivable, and they decided to live underground. So they dug down 1,400 meters. The best place to live is minus 400, and the worst place is obviously minus 1,400. This world does have a caste system. So when you're born, you are given a D ratio just based on your birth. Your lineage, your heritage, or how strong your parents were have nothing to do with it. So our little lovable RRLAT is a 1 out of 8,192. The highest is 1/4, and the lowest is 65,535. So we're not the lowest, we're kind of near the top when you look at like that bearing. So I sold a tonic. A tonic is kind of like your Phoenix Down in this game. I bought 13 meat and 4 bombs. This game allows you to kind of attract and damage enemies before the battle starts. Bombs are just stupidly overpowered. In battle, they have 140 base damage, and out of battle, they will do 20% of the enemy's current hit points. This has a party experience or extra experience system. So the more enemies you get in the battle and the faster you kill them, the more party experience you get, and it's a multiplier off of the battle experience. So if a battle is worth 200 and you get a 200 times multiplier, your party gets that 200 multiplier, 200 experience divided by how many people are in it. And then that 400 experience goes into a separate pool you can use at any time in the game to level up a single character. And that's kind of really what just breaks this game wide open for it to be as fast as it can, or as fast as it is. So here I'm just using meat to get enemies out of my way. In this game, enemy patterns and crate patterns are randomized. Thankfully, there's only 2 different patterns. The more and more you play the game, the more you really start picking up on the different patterns. They're not huge to know, but they will help you out in knowing like which crate you can break open for what items. Each crate can have anywhere between 0 to 16 different items. So this game is just kind of like a giant ball of randomness. Thankfully, stat ups are static, so you don't have to worry about getting low rolled with strength or low rolled with hit points with something like, say, Chrono Cross. Thank you, everyone, for the good lucks. So here we are a ranger. A ranger is kind of like the militia or the army. Alright, I didn't run into a bat. So we're kind of the low-level blockades of everyone else that lives below us. We got a job to go protect a train, but of course, in your traditional RPG fashion, the train is delayed. So instead of it coming to us, we have to go to it. And coming up here is a danger room. Danger rooms are basically you have to defeat all the enemies inside of it before you can progress. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, this will be fine. So there you see we got 58 experience and 47 party. That is probably the cleanest I've done this first danger room in all my practice runs. I'm going to grab Kick. Kick is not needed, but it's a very nice backup for one of the fights. I don't trust myself in a marathon setting. That's all it boils down to pretty much. So yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, we're going to the train. 1, 2, 3. Our friend Bosch is a 1 out of 64, so he's a very high D ratio. Bosch is really going to be like, if you're playing without meat or bombs, Bosch is really going to be your main damage dealer. He just does infinitely more damage than Ryu with his lower based attacks. So in this game, you have like tier 1, 2, and 3 attacks. Tier 1 take 10 AP, Tier 2 take 20 AP, Tier 3 take 30 AP. You also lose AP in battle from walking around, so it's a very, very strategic kind of game if you're playing with trying to maximize your AP. Also, depending on how many slots, either 1 to 3, of the Tier 1, 2, and 3, you can equip on a weapon is dependent on the weapon. Some of them will only have 1 open slot, some of them will have all 9, and some are all in between. For this run, we don't have to worry about it because in this game, the dragon power is stupidly strong. But it also has a very, very large weight to it, which we'll come in contact to in a little bit. So to catch us up, because I've been rambling, we went through the genetic accumulator, and we found a dead dragon kind of just nailed up to a cross. Actually, I'm going to take these. And that is a dragon half, or a 1-2 dragon. So, since dragons destroyed the world, everyone had the brilliant idea of, hey, let's build our own dragon and see if we can get back to the sky. But those dragons don't act independently. They are what's called a deconstruct. So the dragon will actually merge with a human, and that will give the human the power of the dragon. In this game, if you pick up random equipment, it shows up as question mark, question mark, question mark. And the only way to know what it is to pay 100 zenny. Zenny is the currency of this world. To find out what it is, and then you can either keep it or sell it. Each character can house 3 weapons, 3 shields, and 3 pieces of body armor. So in battles, you can get wicked customizable with everything. Especially with all the different abilities that the game has to offer. Dragon Quarter, there is no official timeline. Only 1 to 3 are in the same, and then 4 and 5 is all just fan ideas or people trying to... It always felt to me like they were trying to draw conclusions where conclusions can't be drawn. So there I used all the party experience to get Ryu to, or RRLAT to level 6. Generally I'd like him a little higher, but we can roll with this. So since this is considered a boss fight, we can't use bombs on him sadly. That would be amazing. Cyclops has 440 hit points. When we do more than 220, he will get into a berserk state and he'll attack twice. So what I'm going to do is pass a turn until I get 2 bars of ATB. And then I'm going to do a slice, a vert slice, Deathbringer. Deathbringer will get a 20% damage boost, and it's a guarantee to crit. So we're going to do that again. We're just really trying to maximize our damage, and the plan now is to get him very close to death on turn 4. If not, hopefully we're going to kill him. Thankfully, you can throw as many curative items as you want in battle, as long as you obviously have them in your inventory. Ooh, that vert slash miss hurts. For some reason, Deathbringer is one of the few moves in the game that doesn't reroll damage, and we really don't know why. We think it's because it's tied to it automatically giving you a critical hit, and the game just doesn't do other steps in the damage formula. But we really don't know for sure. It is quite an oddity. Alright, first fight down. And now we get our second party member. So to catch up with a little bit of the story, we found the train. The train got attacked by the anti-government group called Trinity. They brought a rocket launcher to a sword fight. And blew up the train. So Ryu fell to the ground, and then we went through the door and we seen that Cyclops carrying this little girl. This little girl is Nina. She'll be our second of 3rd party members. So right now Nina can't talk. She doesn't really know what's going on. That's all she knows is she wants to be with our pretty boy Ryu. And after a short little couple of dashing segments, we have our 3rd character, Lynn. She is from the Trinity. She is the one that shot down our train. And she's like, hey, that girl's coming with us. And then Nina kind of runs to Ryu. And then she's like, all right, fine. I'll tail you around for a little bit to see what's going on. So Nina is our magic user. Ryu is our physical. And Lynn is a range slash status. Lynn has a lot of utility in the game, as more of just shuffling people around. Where's that force fighter? there I was just using my iframes after battle to set up these next 4 spiders. There is a task strat you can do where you can basically do that kind of a danger room if they're on the ceiling in one fight. Unfortunately, I bonked into the spider, so it's no longer possible. So after the Cyclops fight, we get access to this ability called D-Dash. Later on in the game, it's not going to be free, but at the moment it's free, so we're going to use it. It gives us increased movement speed, and it'll allow us to avoid encounters. So while we bump into enemies, we're just going to push them to the side. So a lot of this is just very much in the speedrun is just going to point A to point B. We're not really going to be... There's going to be one additional fight we need to take. And that weapon pays for the fight and then some. How dare they bring a rocket launcher to a sword fight? So you can't freely save in this game. You need to collect something called save tokens, and then you need to make a phone call to your internet dad, I'm guessing from Earthbound. So in this run, if you've been running the game actively, you could probably get away without saving. However, I'm a chicken, so there will be a couple of saves in key spots where things can go south. I'll show off this cutscene. We got a little bit of time to kill, and this was my one of my favorite cutscenes. So we see Bosch found another train. Oh, Bosch! Bosch, you made it too! So Trinity's with you, huh? RRLAT. No mistake about it. Well done. Wait, Bosch? I'm trying to make him sound like Goofy and I don't know why. What happened to Nina? Tell me. The orders are to get rid of the cargo. That's all you need to know. Out of my way. No, just tell me what's going on. What cargo? Get rid of it how? Stabby stabby. I'm... Yeah! That hurts. Oh yeah, that's gonna... I used to be a ranger, and I took a sword to the knee. I can't afford to be wasting time with something like this. I totally agree, Bosch, but here we are. She's awfully fond of you. Bosch, stop. Lynn's like, I give up. Ryu, you. That's gonna take a day off work. Stay out of my way. Am I going to die here? I'll choose you. Pikachu. So now we get access, because we died, we get access to the dragon powers. So the dragon we met, Ojin, has decided to turn us into Mecha God. So Bosch's guys will always get their first turn. It doesn't matter if you have max speed, they're just always going to outspeed you. In the dragon form, we take 0 damage. So we didn't have to worry about healing Ryu in this fight. My Beast Blade, not work? Impossible! I don't know if Lynn's actually going to hit with these. Long time since I've done this strat. Alright, so we only get 2. Fine, I'll take it. So we're going to use Lynn's ability to move people around in battle. And then these guys are just going to die to a nice Dragon Breath. I said you're going to die to a Dragon Breath. Alright, 3rd time's a charm. Alright, 4th time's a charm. I'm trying to do a very small D-breath. Try to not over-damage him, and I failed horribly, but still. So, after we fought the Cyclops, Bosch went back to the Rangers headquarters and said, I don't know what to tell you, I lost the cargo. So Captain Zeno of the Rangers was like, well, you better go find the cargo. So he got some new friends, and he got a backbone because of the friends. So the counter will be ticking up from the remainder for the rest of the run. For every 16 to 32 steps, it goes up by 0.1%. Every time we turn into the dragon, it goes up by 1%. And every time I tap the R2, not hold it, to use a Dragon Dash, it goes up by 0.06. So, even though the dragon is very powerful, it does drink your D counter very, very quickly. So, the one thing in the any percent run is to just carefully manage it. There is a lot of things you can do for safety for any new runners. There's quite a bit of safeties, but once you get to that certain point, like once you get to endgame and you're kind of over counter, there's just nothing you can do. Sadly, there's no way to decrease it. Gonna kill these little guys because I want health kits. That guy's axe is made of paper mache. So we're on to our 3rd danger room. Judging from the high cheese, I know I got the quote-unquote good danger room. And then I'm going to attract a bunch of people with meat. There we go. So I'm using the bomb. I don't necessarily want to kill all the other little dukes. The bombs do say 0.35% on your dragon counter. So after the 2 bombs, these guys have 310 hit points left. The big armored guys take drastically reduced damage. Until you've hit them 15 times with a physical or a shot-based ability, then their armor breaks and they deal normal damage. Dragon Breath doesn't care about special immunities. At the moment, it deals 5 damage for 0.05% of the counter. All the enemies for the next probably half hour or 25 minutes of the run will take double damage from Dragon. So it's doing 10 damage per tick instead of 5. So we can very easily math out in the beginning of the game how much Dragon counter we need to nail the nail on the head. So we sold all the armor we got. I'm hoping to buy 30 bombs, and I don't think I'm going to be able to sell. Gonna see ya. There we go. So I'm not going to bother giving Ryu party experience because nothing, like, your attack stat doesn't scale Dragon Breath damage. So there I bought 30 bombs and 40 meat. 30 bombs will carry me through the rest of the game. And 40 meat, just in case I'm a little bit wasteful later on, I got plenty. Meat is the cheapest of the two baits. It costs 8 zenny each, where things like Confused Shrooms and Sleepy Shrooms cost 16 each. It's not the biggest of deals, but they do get put in a different slot, so right now I can only swap between 2 items on the field. The 3 Ranger fight. This fight, we consistently get poisoned every turn. It does have a chance to miss. So there's no point in healing, getting rid of the poison, because it's just going to keep coming back. I should have taken Ryu's shield off there. So here we're looking for a D-breath of 600. Thankfully in this fight, these guys pretty much always line themselves up. I was 20 over. I'm not going to kick myself in the butt for that. So those poison guys were sent by the Rangers to get Nina by any means necessary. So their means is to flood that whole area with poison gas and killing a lot of the people in there. So Nina, we found out Nina's special ability. Nina is a air purification system with legs. So Nina went down and absorbed all the poison. So what happened is Nina got kidnapped. Nina was a homeless girl with a D ratio of 1 out of 65,535. And BioCorp made an experiment where they were kidnapping people, taking out their vocal cords, and replacing their lungs with filtration system. So now starts the arc of Nina's close to death. Not in, like, any risk of the run, just in the story arc. So the only place that's supposed to have clean air is the sky. So this is kind of where the true mission of the run starts. Is we need to get Nina to somewhere where there isn't polluted air. Along the way, we'll face various obstacles, but that's pretty much the core mechanic of it. Lynn, the member of Trinity, is nicely warming up to us. I hope you like that little every now and then, because you're going to be hearing that poison effect for a very, very long time. Even though Ryu got poisoned in the poison fight, the dragon form clears all status effects. So we don't have to worry about Ryu's hit points ticking down. So here we're coming up to our money grind for the run. It's very quick, thankfully. It's the quote-unquote bad pattern, but this also works out very nicely because you get extra money. Apparently I messed that up. Take it from the top. Try it one more time. So if you escape from battles, you do lose 10% of your money. Thankfully, our money is very low at the moment, so it's not the biggest of deals. this looks better. So, since we don't want to fight the goos, we're just going to penalty escape. Each one of those canophages, if you kill them with 2 bombs, is worth 10,000 zenny. We have to kill them with bombs because every attack you do on them, their money gets cut in half. So it goes 10,000, 5,000, 2,500. You can easily lose a bunch of money out of nowhere. The quote-unquote good room, you only fight one of them. You don't need to do an escape for it. You just throw 2 bombs, shoot them, and call it a day. The second canophage is nice if we get good shop luck later on. Especially for a marathon, it allows me to buy a bunch of extra safety items and not really worry about it. So here we met, this guy right here is the guy that made Nina. Here's the bed she was created on. Isn't this a comfy room? So we bring, and we're like, hey, there's something wrong with Nina. And he's like, oh, you gotta treat these units better. He's like, these air filters are clogged. So he's like, yeah, she's not gonna make it. I don't know what to tell you. So then Lynn's like, hey, let's keep going and see what happens. This story is quite a bit darker than other Breath of Fire games. If anyone that's caught me do like multiple no cutscene run or all cutscene runs knows what's going on. So our D counter is still looking pretty good. Just going, like I said, this is just point A to point B. It's thankfully you don't have to do too much detouring. It's once you've done the run a couple of times, it's very hard to get lost. I mean, if we were to turn around the other way, there's a bunch of room with test tubes with headless Ninas as replacement parts. This is a Breath of Fire game. So here we're just taking a safety shop. In a serious PB attempt or world record, you'd hope for a 25% drop of a Sapphire Macer. But since the shop's there, it's pretty close. Just go and grab it. The extra 3 attack is nice. So there's only 7 or 8 weapons in the game. And the weapons keep making a reappearance. Every time a weapon gets a plus to it, it adds 3 attack to its base stats. There's only 2 weapons in the game that get to plus 9. None of them we'll see in the speedrun. But the Plasma Macer plus 1 will give us 3 extra attack over the regular Sapphire Macer that like a serious attempt would grab. So Frozen Road, all these enemies are weak to lightning, which is good if we have to hit anything. The elemental properties of weapons don't carry over to the dragon form. So it's not like we're going to be dealing extra or losing damage depending on what kind of macer you get. So coming up is the one optional fight we're going to be taking. This allows us to get an extra level when we fight Bosch. It also helps out greatly in the next boss fights coming up. I like this. So when you kill certain enemy packs, depending what they are and what room you're in, they'll drop a key. And the key will open up a blue treasure chest. Blue treasure chest will be a skill or a piece of equipment. In this case, it's the cleaner for Lynn, better known as the vacuum cleaner. It has a really good ability called Come Here on it, which I'll touch on in just a moment. So this danger room is kind of just whatever. You're waiting for the bats to randomly fall out from the sky. They're on some kind of timer. So they could take forever to fall. They could take forever to fall. Or they could fall very quickly. And then we're just going to trap these guys in the corner, throw 6 bombs, blow up 2, get a payday. So come here, Lynn has a bunch of combo abilities. So if you use one ability before another ability, it will enhance that second ability. So if we use hey hey and then come here, instead of it sucking in one enemy, it will suck in a spread amount. Doesn't matter how many enemies are in there, the range of it just gets increased. And it's going to be very important in this next fight coming up. I'm going to take this very carefully. There we go. Don't want to sell that cleaner. To save before this fight because I have the worst luck in this fight. Grab too much stuff. I'm over encumbered. So here we're going to get Lynn to level 13. This is the only other time we'll use party experience on someone else. It grants her 1 speed. No, Bosch starts off at 1 out of 64. No, your D ratio will never fall below 8,192. So this is a mini boss gauntlet. As you can see, there's 8 people in this fight, and they're scattered out everywhere. So we gave Lynn that 1 level to give her a little bit of extra speed, and it did pay off. She got a pretty high turn roll there, which is nice. Anytime in battle, if you hit select, you can use X to move yourself around in the game. So it really helps you try to manipulate the way battles are going to go. So here we're just waiting for everyone to go before Lynn gets her turn. Then we're going to swap her. We didn't equip the cleaner beforehand because the cleaner is heavier than the pistol, and it would just make her turn a lot lower on the list, or potentially a lot lower on the list. I didn't give Ryu a kick. Alright. Backup time. Don't worry, this'll happen. Alright, maybe this won't happen. Oh. Nice. Took a little bit of getting there, but I forgot to equip the ability I specifically went out of my way for. So, second fight is Asimov. Once you drop him down to 1 hit point, he is invulnerable to every kind of damage except dragon. So if you're not killing him with the dragon, you basically have to wait 3 turns for him to blow himself up. So D-Breath really isn't a good damage dealing ability anymore. We're going to be switching to a charge and a twister. A charge doubles our attack power for 2%. And a twister is 2 hits for 1.5%, but each hit is a 3 times damage multiplier. So at the moment, each hit of twister is dealing 12 times damage. And we still need a crit or very, very good damage rolls to guarantee the kill. Just going to top up Ryu here in case Zeno decides to target him down. If Lin or Nina die now, we really don't care in battle. It's just more experience for Ryu. While in Dragon, we have the AP cost is removed for movement, and we can basically traverse around the whole map without an issue. So in that fight, basically the Rangers set up a trap for Ryu because they thought he went rogue. And it was basically turn in Nina or we're gonna kill you. So Ryu no longer has a place to go to, so Lin offers up, hey, let's go to Trinity and see if they can help us out. So we're on our way there now. Lost a big chunk in storage, but I did mess around a little bit trying to get that D-Breath. If you can get a first turn storage with the guards, it grants you 1,000 experience, and you lose roughly 1,000 party experience for every turn it takes after the first one to kill them. So losing that 1,000 party experience isn't the worst thing in the world, but definitely the more you can get, the better off you will be. So Nina still has a place in the game. She's basically going to be our backup damage dealer if we can't kill the boss with a crit. Or I should say if we don't get a crit in a boss fight. Magic scales much better in this game than physicals do. So once we give Nina Fire Blast, she'll be dealing some pretty good damage for just 20 AP. especially because the wand she has, the Pyromania, gives her a 10% to fire damage already. So here we come into another fun danger room. The only big difference about this one is sometimes this Baphomet, there's two types of AI. He will either just sit in the door or he'll come after you if you come close. So we're gonna trap him in the corner, 12 prox bombs, 2 normal bombs, everything goes down. As I said earlier, being able to damage the enemy before getting into the battle is a very, very nice thing about the game, and it makes it really enjoyable to route. So coming up is Tantra. Tantra is a Dark Ranger that some mysterious force is sent out to get us. I always like to refer to them in, if you've watched Roni Kenshin, they're kind of like the Assassins of the Shadow. I'm going to give him a meat and pray for a good fight. The meat doesn't enter the fight, it's just something fun I like to do. So this Tantra is a guaranteed kill with a 1 charge 2 twist, or 1 charge 1 twister. This is where the game kind of branches out. You can go to the south and fight Gigius, or you can go to the north and fight Dyne. In the speedrun, we'll go to Dyne. He takes extra damage from fire, which means our prox bombs and bombs will do extra damage. And Tantra and Dyne takes full damage from Dragon, where Gigius is the first enemy we've run into up to this point that will only take 150% damage from Dragon, and he only takes 75% damage from fire. So to kill him, you need something like 45 prox bombs and 3 bombs, and even then you still need to throw in a couple of ice-based attacks. Gigius is just such a tank. But if you end up fighting Dyne and Gigius, they both merge with Tantra. So after we're done with Gigius, the Tantra fight will either be Tantra with one or both of the sub-bosses you killed, and that changes his characteristics, his stats, and his drops. So since it's a sub-boss, we don't actually have to go into battle. So what I did there was I positioned myself in a very specific location, and every time Dyne was getting hit with a prox bomb, he was hitting against the doorway, and the doorway was pushing him back into the explosion. So each one of those prox bombs hit him twice. The old strat used to be sit there and lay down 23 prox bombs. With this strat, you only need 10. So it saves us money, and it does save us time from planting extra explosives. It's a really, really neat trick. I don't want you. Give me a fire blast. And then we're just gonna dump all that juicy party experience we've gotten from storage and that danger room fight. That trick is useful in any area where you can get an enemy close to a wall. Um, Once you really know where Prox Bomb's explosion radius is, we do use it a lot in low dive 1/4. Because just the enemies are very close to a wall, so we can manipulate it in the same fashion. It can happen randomly with bomb throws as well. Sometimes the bomb will push the enemy away, but if the enemy's trying to go back to the meat, he'll walk in and just double blast himself. But that, as Rex is saying, is more of an accidental instance instead of like a purposeful thing. Alright, that's down Tantra and Dagon. Our plan still now is to head to Trinity and see if they can help us out. So the Mysterious Force, we'll call them that at the moment, are still putting plans in motion. One of the shadows was like, hey, I'll send him into a space-time continuum and just kill him there. And the other ones are like, no, let's see what he can do on his own. I'm sure everything will be fine. So Bosch went to Biocorp and he's like, I can't believe that low D RRLAT defeated me. I need to be powered up. So we've talked about the D construct Ojin. Well, there's also another one called Cheshire, or Cheddar. Chetyre. I don't know how you'd pronounce it. This game uses a lot of Russian, and I'm horrible at English, let alone a language I don't speak. So Bosch is trying to, instead of having the dragon choose him, he's trying to force the link with a dragon. I am 100% sure nothing could ever go wrong with that. So the last person that linked with Cheshire ended up killing himself. For unknown cause, the game doesn't say why. The game puts it as, I think he took himself offline. Because the deconstructs are pretty much just programs. I don't know why. There's not a lot of this game story that's very flushed out. Alright, yeah, shut himself down. Still rough. Nice. That Tri-Lizard was just out to lunch. Alright, so we've made it to Trinity, and immediately Nina collapses, and everyone comes out of the woodworks. So Nina is now hospitalized in this nice bed. She's so comfortable, look at her. I do need to buy an extra bomb, because I wasted one earlier. Actually, just gonna max out this deck. Since I'm here, I'm also just going to appraise the sword we got off Zeno. The Violet Blade is one of the most useful weapons in the speedrun. It has the lowest amount of weight, so we only lose 1 speed from equipping it, instead of another weapons anywhere from 2 to 15. So here we meet the leader of Trinity, Maybeth. He's one of 2 1/4s in this game. The other one we'll talk about later. So immediately after we're done cruising around, I forgot to save. I'll save after this. So we're all resting, and all of a sudden we get ambushed. So there's 4 enemies, and this map is huge. So since there's 4, we don't have the AP to do twisters. So we're going to do a double charge single vortex. 2 charges gives us a 3 times damage boost. And then with the vortexes times 2, that puts us at 6. And then their dragon resistance puts us still back at 12. It's a little more, it's not really any more D-counter exhaustive. It's just the most efficient way to get through the fight. So 4 ranger members show up to try to kidnap Nina. And in this fight, if Nina dies, the game strictly ends right there. And the game really doesn't give you any warning of it. It's the only battle that's like that in the entire game. Oops, wrong way. Oh, guess I'm not saving. So like casually it threw me for a loop. There's a text box at the start of the battle that tells you, but like there's no battle before it that had that kind of a condition. I know, like, for me, casually, it threw me for a loop. Actually, I'm gonna... Oh, everyone's already topped up. Actually, I'm gonna give Ryu an extra level. So now, we found out those quote-unquote Ranger members were Trinity members in disguise. So Maybeth was trying to force our hand into joining him. And after his ploy gets found out, he's like, oh, hey, you got me. Take this key and keep going, kid. I believe in you. So we're like, thank you, sir. I hate this dash. Alright, we're gonna be here a little bit. We might be going back a little more than I like. Please target Lynn. Fuck! Get me out of here. Thank you. Oh, we're good. Just barely. We're still good, though. Just adding a little bit of excitement to the run. Doing a little bit of looting. Hopefully that +1, whatever it was, I think it might be a shield. But hopefully it's a weapon. So coming up, we're going to meet our good friend Boshi Boy, and he's got himself a brand new arm. So he lobbed off one of his arms to put the other dragon's arm on it. Because that's what you do when you try to beat your rival. So since we is stronger than the Violet Blade, but it's heavier. So by keeping Ryu with the Violet Blade, we're guaranteeing he gets a very good turn roll, and then we can just swap him to a better weapon to deal more damage. So I'm purposely knocking Bosch away from the party, because he's going to end up using his turn running towards us. And then Nina's going to just pelt him with fire blasts. Bosch has an interesting mechanic where he regains 20% of his current hit points per turn. Actually, let's see if I can pot shot it. Really? How many hit points you got? You have 12 hit points. Bosch, I disagree with this. Lynn tried, that's all that matters. So, at the end of the fight, Bosch is still angry he can't damage us. And the arm throws him off the cliff. And then the arm decides to kill Bosch, so now Bosch has merged with the other dragon. Never to be seen from again. So first thing we're gonna do is save. Why are you hitting yourself? And let's see what we got. Ooh, nice. Very good find. The Celtus +1 is quite a bit stronger than the Buster Sword +3. The Celtus +1 is really the weapon you want in this run. And coming up is probably my favorite area in the game, and it has the second best music. So like, there's not much story really going on at the moment. It's kind of just, hey, our buddy did something really weird to try to defeat us. And then we just move on from there. So this is our last danger room coming up. It's 4 skeletons and a Charon. The skeletons are the only enemies that will regenerate in the game as long as their host is alive. Their host being Charon. Come on, little guy. You can do it. Thank you. So I want to drag them away from the skeletons. I'm supposed to... You want to drag them away from the skeletons because it saves a bunch of text boxes. So a text box will show up and it will be like, the Gravediggers can only be destroyed when they're host, and it will do this for every enemy on the screen. There's a little bit of a faster setup, I just haven't learned it. So I'm going to I'm going to force an encounter and run into the door. I want to really save that little bit of the counter. If you escape a battle through the door, you don't get the money penalty. And it's a short corridor, and I can just use my iframes to get through there safely. Rex Dawn in chat is the any % world record holder. He knows where your decounter is supposed to be at every location. I, however, do not. So I tend to play a lot more safer, especially in marathon runs. I just haven't learned the values. Any percent run's not really my strongest suit. But if he says I'm fine, that's good enough for me. I'm gonna kill these guys for free health. Alright, don't have enough experience for a level. So now we meet the first of the shadowy figures. The shadowy figures are called regents. They're the self-proclaimed protectors of the sky. So the lore is they were to make sure whoever went to the sky was strong enough not to pollute it again. So these guys also have a mechanic called absolute defense. So what it is it's an impenetrable barrier that shows up every time your combo drops. So if you stop hitting them, go back to your neutral state and then hit them again, the barrier will come back. So this is very much like an AP check in the game. Because of the absolute barrier and just because these guys have so much more hit points, we're going to be using 2 charges and 2 twisters. And you'll notice the first twister... Oh, except, never mind. You notice the first twister does a lot less damage than the second twister. That's because a lot of that damage is being eaten up by the absolute defense. So coming up, there's 4 regents up in center. We only have to fight 2 of them. We'll be taking the left pass. Cupid and Jesuit are a guaranteed kill in the speedrun no matter what. On top of it, we also come across 2 enemies that will give us an item called a 7th sense. So there are boosting items in the game. Armor boost, speed boost, power boost, things like that. The boost will increase that stat by 25% for the whole battle, and the game, if you try to throw a power boost and then turn into the dragon, the game just eliminates your power boost. But the 7th sense will boost all of your stats by 50% for 1 turn, and for some reason, the game doesn't clear that when you go into the dragon form. So if you throw a 7th sense and then do like a 2 times charge, it's the same attack strength as doing a 3 times charge. So we're able to save 2% for each 7th sense we throw. They'll only drop 7th sense on the EX and the first turn. These guys reduce all damage by 25%. They don't have a lot of hit points, but they got a lot of defense. So you can see this is the rich part of the world. This is where the air is the purest, the food is the best. Obviously they have very nice furniture. So as I said, Cupid will die with a double charge, 2x twister. This is pretty much going to be the damage formula for the rest of the game. It puts our damage out of nice, and it's also very AP efficient. So you can't really do like doing a 1 charge 2 twister doesn't account for the same damage as doing a double charge and a twister, even though like theoretically the damage or the attack multiplier is the same. The damage formula gets really wonky when your attack greatly outdefines the enemy's defense. And at the moment, we just don't have the AP for 3 twisters. So Cupid's little friend Anakade is immune to all types of damage. So Cupid will just sit there, and whoever she casts command on, Anakade will go and attack. So one thing, if you kind of go towards Cupid at a weird angle, the game will auto-select Monokade instead of Cupid. And using up 1.5% is, depending on your counter, can be pretty dangerous at this part of the game, just because we are very, very close to the end. So here we're going to fight our second Ottoman. If one of your bomb hits miss, you can just use a Violet Death. I don't think it does as much of a bomb, but it does pretty close to it. 2 of them will basically equate to a little more than a bomb. So Jesuit. This boss is a bag of ass and chips. Shadow Walk in Breath of Fire 3 or 4 guaranteed a critical hit. In Breath of Fire 5, it turns him invisible, and you can't target him with skills. So what we're going to do is, actually, I'm gonna free you. Thankfully, he has a very low absolute defense of 50. So what we want to do is line up 3 G-Flares as perfectly as we can. We only need 2 of them to knock him out of absolute defense, but in case he takes a weird angle or something, 3 is just going to make it a little safer. So Jesuit has almost max speed. He has 1,999 out of 2,000. So we need to hit him from the backside. Hitting him from the backside gives us a 50% accuracy and a 10% boost to crit. The crit we're not really too worried about. It's more of the accuracy boost. There's no cutscene there. And we've collected all of the keys we need. So it turns out that key that Maybeth gave us was the final key to the lock to let us get close to the observatory. And here we meet the leader of the regions, Elion. Elion is the second 1/4 D ratio person in the world. Elion was also Ojin's first link. So Elion got close to giving humanity the sky back years ago. But right before he opened up the final lock, he argued with himself if the decisions were his or because of the D construct, and he forcibly removed the link with Ojin. So he's been sitting here waiting for someone else to challenge him. Elion's battle theme is by far my favorite. Calling from a Distance is such a good track. So Elion summons 2 alter egos. We don't need to kill the alter egos, we just need to kill Elion. Elion, like Jesuit, has 1,999 speed. He also has a 25% evasion. So hitting him from the backside is even more important than Jesuit. So here we're going to throw that 7 cents and then go back to the good old 2 charge, 2 twister. nice meaty crit. Nice, unnecessary crit. So we're gonna give Ryu the Violet Blade. Bosch 3 coming up, our good buddy once again. We can actually have a speed tie with him. And if he goes first, it's not the end of the world, but it can make the fight rather tricky. So in this form, he's perfectly human. Everything is fine. We didn't lose the speed tie, thankfully. With Bosch, we'll be using a double charge single twister and then possibly a vortex. The run, you generally have 1% to play with. Whether you use that for the safety vortex or to save time with D-dash is really up to the runner. It does kind of suck to lose a run when you don't get that crit on Bosch, because losing out on a crit costs you 20 plus seconds. So we're at the final boss. I'm going to throw another 7 cents. And this, we're going to do a double charged triple twister. You have to hit him with a dragon-based ability before you can do damage to him. But since we're already in dragon, we might as well just keep whacking him around. So this will be a 99.42. Skilled runners like Rex will end up being like 99.98, sometimes 99.99. I play just a lot more conservative. But like, you can play that little bit of risky and save those couple of seconds by just really knowing the dragon counter and where you're supposed to be at certain points. So time is coming up. I forgot to mention that. I'm gonna call it time here because I really forget where we just do the timing. So at the end, Bosch, Dragon Bosch is Bosch's dragon form. And it's really nice. It's really neat because he's got a bunch of his own attacks. It's a super scary fight casually, but it's interesting to watch, and then you just finish the game by going to 100%. So what we see here is Cheshire, which is the deconstruct that Bosch merged with. And that's what the dragons look like. Yes, if at any time in the run we hit 100%, the run is instant, or your game's over. So the dragon will actually kill Ryu. This is the first Breath of Fire game where Ryu isn't born into the dragon clan. The dragon powers are forced upon him. So I always looked at the counter as like how much the dragon has destroyed his body. So if you hit to 100% early, the dragon will end up just popping out of Ryu and just kind of floating there while some sad music is played. That's what I was talking about with the D-counter management is so important in this run, because you need to have the dragon counter, especially to kill Dragon Bosch. And because we're so under-leveled and so under-geared, we really can't fight any of these later bosses straight up. It's just not possible. Thank you everyone for the GGs. So, but of course in the cutscene, we can go over 100% because anime. So because I have a very big knack in this marathon for getting cut off at a random point, I'm just going to say thank you for Longathon for allowing me to consistently show off these runs. Frosty made me do this. Be sure to stick around. Desert Eagle's up next with the classic Resident Evil trilogy. Thank you everyone that's been donating and watching. These events are always fun. Be sure to stick around, give a follow. So, I like the ending. I find it kind of a little bit of cheap that Ryu gets brought back to life, but not gonna argue over. I'm not gonna argue semantics. Sorry. Yes, Frosty, you threatened me. I tried to make it sound nice. I'm sorry.
しょうがないね。ちょっと